All right, and we just have this episode, the last episode of Scurvivor series before we're married. Can you believe it?
We're getting married?
Cue intro music. Welcome everybody to Scurvivor series. This is what?
Did I do it right?
You did it right. Yes. If we sound a little bit different, that's because we're using the other person's microphone. I'm using the classic headset mic that Jessie typically uses, but Jessie is using my microphone. She's feeling a little bit under the weather right now.
Yeah, if I sound different, that's why. I think I probably sound a little raspy.
A little raspy voice.
So if it's unpleasant, I apologize.
But we're doing the best we can. We wanted to make sure to get this episode out before we get married.
We're getting hitched.
It's coming up literally this weekend. So next week's episode will probably not be out on Monday, and they'll probably be out the week following or a couple days after that. We don't know. We have a busy week. So at the very least, you can also, if you're chewing food, you can also hit the cough microphone if you like.
Can you hear me though?
No, I cannot when you do that, so that's good. Good microphone etiquette. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. I didn't say it at the top. This is my fiance, soon-to-be wife, Jessie Dubiowski. Jessie, how are you doing?
Like I said, I'm doing all right. We're getting married in 6 days.
Yeah. And you're under the weather, so we are doing everything we can to get you back to health.
I'm drinking my tea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm popping my Dayquil.
What kind of tea you got there over
I
there?
got a little tea that's honey, ginger, lemon tea.
I love that tea.
It's it comes with honey, so it's sweet.
Yeah, I can smell it, so it smells really good.
I'm sorry. Did you want some tea?
No, I'm good, but
I was gonna say too bad.
I do enjoy that tea.
Which is weird. You don't like tea.
I don't. I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a tea drinker. But you have taken me on to that, which is like you said. It's basically hot water, and then honey, ginger, and what was the other one? Lemon. I mean that's.
So it's not really. I guess it's not
really
technically a tea. I don't think actually no. I think there's tea leaves in it.
You have to steep something.
I think it has like.
What makes it tea? The leaves or the fact that you're steeping something in hot water?
The leaves.
The leaves?
The leaves.
The tea leaves? Well, whatever it is some sort of concoction. Because I started doing like hot water and honey as sort of like a throat thing. And this tea just adds a little bit of that ginger, adds a little bit of that lemon.
Yeah, but I think there's also like, I'm looking at the bag. I think there's like maybe green tea or something.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. There are tea leaves in it.
Which is also interesting because that's probably like the only herbal thing I enjoy. I'm not a huge herbal person, if you think about it. I mean, you're more of the earth eater in this family. I'm not. Anything that's like tastes like earth, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm like, that's my jam.
That is your jam. You do pump it up. Episode 6, Survivor. That's what we're talking about. Season 45, of course. We're talking about episode, I'm not Batman, I'm the Canadian. I thought this was a pretty good episode with a fantastic ending, of course, that we'll get to. I thought this was a pretty good episode of Survivor. I think this is of course the merge or making the merge episode. As opposed to previous seasons, I thought it was interesting. I think it wasn't last year. What was the make the merge? I don't think make the merge was unless it was the.
Or it wasn't. Was it?
Was the Matt and what's her face?
Wasn't Fuzzy? Wasn't?
Was the Matt and the girl? They were their boyfriend girlfriend situation where they were on different teams, and then because she won, he had to go to tribal. I don't recall if that was the make the merge or not. I feel like it was.
I feel like he was the first person on. No, he wasn't. Or
I don't remember.
He wasn't the first person on the jury because he was asking if anyone brought his bag.
Yeah. Well, he was the first person on the jury. You're right. No, he was.
Because didn't they like pan over to the jury and like no one could say anything?
Well, no, because that wasn't the jury. That was just like the other half of the tribe watching.
Oh, the ones who weren't.
Yeah, they were just watching.
Because that's how they did it last time. Is the winners didn't even vote, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, the winners didn't even vote. So I don't think that was the merge. That might have been like a week or two after the make the merge episode because the jury would start at the merge, I believe. No, the jury doesn't start the merge. It starts at what? 10, 11 people left, and we had 13.
I think it was after the merge.
Yeah, I think it was after
I think the last person to go home before the merge was your podiatrist.
Yes, I think that's right.
He didn't make the merge.
He did not. Josh. But I thought this was more interesting. Obviously, they've also gotten rid of the whole like sand time clock gimmick.
Thank God.
That in some ways I get it because it's like you do this at 13, so you have that one extra person that's just sitting around and you want them to do something and have importance. But having them have like basically a lot of power, I kind of like what they do now, which is just kind of like they bet on who they think is going to win. Their chance is not in their hands; it's in everybody else's hands. Instead of their fate controls everyone's fate. Instead of giving them all the power, they have just sort of like luck on their side.
Yeah, I think it's a better way of doing it.
And not just luck, but also like knowing the members on each tribe.
Yeah.
Like, do you trust and see these people and be like, oh, these people are actually pretty good at challenges, so they could win. I think it's interesting. But yeah, this is, of course, Make the Merge episode. This is the tribes start off the episode merging together. But, of course, this is the Make the Merge episode where they have to have a challenge. Losers of that challenge are the only ones voted on at Tribal, and we'll get to how that episode unfolds. So we start off at Bello, post-Brando vote. Emily feels bad for lying to Kendra, but liked being brought in on the Austin-Drew dynamic. Kendra was sort of devastated and wants revenge on Emily because she sort of trusted her, and now she doesn't. So now Emily has someone gunning for her. And, of course, she was brought into the Austin-Drew group. Does that remain? Well, it remains to be seen, at the very least. At Lulu, I wrote Lulu, not Katora. Oh, no, people, not Katora, are looking for Sabaya's idol because Sabaya got voted out, presumably her idol somewhere. Bruce finds it. Bruce finds the idol, or at least the location of where the idol is. It's a similar location hunt idol that Sabaya had. This one is, they just put it in the sand underneath their camp. That's all it is.
I want you to look for it where everybody is.
Exactly. It's under everyone's noses. So everyone sort of works together to hide this information from Katora and tries to find ways to help Bruce in finding this actual idol.
When did it become the whole tribe against Katora?
Well, it sort of was Bruce and Jake already as a thing, right? Kelly coming in and deciding, I can either side with Katora or I can side with the two bros, at the very least, of Jake and Bruce. So Kelly ends up deciding to go with those and make a triumvirate there. Caleb, I think Caleb is just kind of playing both sides of the Katora and the rest of the group. Because I think Caleb agrees with Katora on a lot of things, but I think it's just sort of like the numbers are with Bruce and his side. So it's like you kind of just have to go with that a little bit.
But yeah. That's weird.
It's very weird. It's very weird that Caleb, at the very least, didn't tell Katora later. Like I don't recall at any point in this episode where he's like, "Hey, by the way, Katora, I think Bruce has an idol."
But he did tell everyone else when they got to the merge beach.
Yes, that is true. Speaking of, Bruce eventually finds the idol and he gets it after some last minute digging. So a boat arrives to the camps.
I honestly was a little disappointed by that.
What do you mean?
I would have loved for Bruce to find this Beware advantage.
Yeah.
Find the location of the idol. Dig around for it, not find it, then get told you have 10 minutes to pack your things and have to leave the beach with the idol still there.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been more interesting. I guess the dynamic is that these are on different islands in the Fiji region, or something like that. They have a couple small islands or whatever. So I like this. I like this idea of like having to figure out a way for Bruce to get over back to that OG island. That would have been fun.
Because he wouldn't have his vote.
Yeah,
like when
that would suck. He wouldn't have his vote.
When do they decide? Okay, we'll give him his vote back.
Yeah, because
it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, because the idol doesn't exist. It doesn't stop existing until the final 6, I want to say. So that means Bruce would probably not have a vote till the final 6?
I think that would have been hilarious.
That would have been great television.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, Bruce just being like, oh, crap, what do I do? I got to find a way to get back to the beach.
I wonder if the producers were like, saw him digging for it, and they were like, all right, it's time, merch time, everybody, let's go.
Yeah.
Send the boat.
Send the boat. Get him going. So that, like we said, a boat arrives to the camps. Drop your buffs. Everyone meets up at Reba's camp, where J. Maya is excited and makes a welcome sign in the sand. Like I said, Bruce last second finds the hidden idol.
Boo.
So everyone shows up to Reba. Emily immediately apologizes to Bruce about the first experience. Kendra is excited about fish because this is the first time she is properly eaten, which I believe we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. She tells everybody info about what happened. Well, not everybody, but tells everybody info about the Bello vote, about Brando going home, and about sort of Emily and her role and all of that. Bruce accepts Emily's apology in a second one-on-one session. He accepts her apology, but doesn't give her anything back because he says that he is still gunning for her, that he is still holds that grudge since day one on Emily. So right now you have a group of people going after Emily. You got Bruce. You got Kendra. You got some other people are available. I actually don't know anyone else that is gunning for Emily. I think people just fear her or think she's going to be annoying based on that first experience. Most of Bello don't really know her experience except for day one. Reba doesn't know her at all. So she has this next couple episodes to kind of win people over.
But even then, like, as they were going around the beach, weren't they all like, Emily's not as bad as I thought?
Did they do that? I remember Austin and Drew doing that the last episode or 2 episodes ago with Emily. Did they do that this episode? I don't recall.
Oh, I thought that was this episode. Maybe I'm confusing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But yeah, the Reba 4, Austin, Drew, Dee, and Julie finally reunite. Austin says that he wants sandwich revenge. I
told you to give that boy a damn sandwich.
This revenge wouldn't be an issue if you gave that boy a damn sandwich. But they recognize that obviously with the 4 of them, with 13 people, they need the numbers. So they just sort of want to kind of create a common enemy surrounding J. Maya. Not only because Austin sort of pinning the sandwich thing on J. Maya, they also all 4 know that they have this sort of amulet gimmick now with Drew. No, with Austin. So if they get out J. Maya, then Austin becomes more powerful in terms of what he has.
Bad decision on Kelly and J. Maya.
Yeah, give that boy a damn sandwich. The only time when this podcast will ever argue for women to get a man a sandwich.
She didn't even have to make it. It was already made. Just let him have it.
The job's mostly done.
Yeah.
Just gotta hand it to him.
It's not sexist. You didn't have to make it.
And you gotta hand it to him.
You're not in the kitchen.
You're on the top of a mountain. Rain starts coming down really hard. Sifu loves this. Gets really into the rain. And I wrote down, Sifu just bothers me.
Sifu is great television, though.
Yeah. He has a Carolyn energy, but like, I don't think he has the self-awareness. We talked about it. We talked about it in his very first interview segment, where it was like, I don't think people will recognize that I'm a nerd. Bro, it is so on your sleeve how much a nerd you are.
Well, like the thing in the interview when he was like, people would never guess I'm into anime. I'm like,
Bro, you walked to the island wearing a Tai Chi shirt, like one of those like sort of like Tai Chi shirt sort of gimmicks, like karate things. Like I could probably guess you're a nerd, or at the very least potentially into anime. And then you're doing like Dragon Ball Z Kamehamehas or whatever at the entire tribe for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what this guy is about. It doesn't feel like he has a self-awareness, unlike Carolyn. But maybe he'll have that one day.
I think like maybe it's the lack of self-awareness, but like I guess he's just like really comfortable in his own skin, which is good.
Yeah.
But it makes for great television.
Emily and Caleb finally link up. They start pointing out the divisions between Reba and Bello, plus the fractures within those tribes itself. Of course, there's Reba, there's the Reba 4, and then there's kind of J, Maya, and Sifu on the outs a little bit. And then they're on Bello. It's kind of like Katora and Bruce, sort of like the fractures there. And then sort of Kendra and Jake are sort of like in between two. I don't really know if Kendra's with the Bruce camp. We don't really know how Kendra feels about Bruce.
I don't either. I feel like she was one of those people in the beginning of the season that the Katora was like, they're like in love with Bruce.
Yeah.
But it feels like she's starting to like see through that a little bit.
See through that.
No. Though Bruce is like mad.
Yeah, Bruce is very upset, as we get to right here. Bruce claims that no one is talking to him.
You're not talking to anybody.
I also wrote down, despite Emily trying, Bruce sees Caleb as the big mover and shaker. Bruce also has a tramp stamp. He then talks to Caleb, shakes him down.
Whoa, I gotta back you up. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I don't think that's technically a tramp stamp.
It's a lower back tattoo.
High lower back. It's like small of his back.
A high lower back is the middle of your back.
Yeah, it's like lower of the middle of the back. It's not...
That's lower back.
It's not like butt cheek / tailbone / very, very lower back.
So you're saying like a tramp stamp has to be like right above the crack?
No, I think a tramp stamp is like, it kind of shows up like on your waistline.
It's okay.
No, like if you're wearing a crop top and jeans, like you get a peek of the tattoo.
A tramp stamp is a tattoo that you see a little bit across a pair of pants.
Yeah. Or if it's just fully on your ass.
I think a tramp stamp sort of...
We're going to Google this.
Is lower back to the top of the crack.
Email us. What do you think is the lowest or the
highest a tramp stamp can be?
Highest a tramp stamp can be. And is Bruce's tattoo a tramp stamp?
Scurvivor series at gmail.com. SCURVIVOR at gmail.com. But anyways, so Bruce is sort of very upset, very angry about... no one talking to him, again, despite Emily trying to talk to him. And I think Kendra technically talked to him earlier in the episode as well. Bruce sees Caleb talking to everybody and gets very upset about it. He talks to Caleb, sort of, as Caleb describes it, shakes him down, mafia style. Bruce is mad at Caleb because he's talking to too many people that ain't him. And so he gets very upset about that. Jesse, you Googled tramp stamps?
Okay, I think that his is a little too high to be a tramp stamp.
Okay.
According to the internet, the lower back tattoo is typically centered in the lower back and small in design. His is not. Hence the word stamp. Where the ink can be spotted just above the waist of low-rise pants and below a crop top.
This is a tramp stamp?
Yes.
So
it's like a little peekaboo action.
Yeah,
like,
it requires a peekaboo.
Yes, like
element.
I think it's a little bit high. It doesn't. Okay. It wouldn't touch the waistband of his pants, especially if he was wearing low-rise jeans, which thank God he is not.
That's true.
Anyway, back to the.
I don't care for it. Anyway. Speaking of people I don't care for, Bruce, shaking down Caleb. He gets very mad at Caleb and said he's talking to too many people. That isn't him. It's sort of like he. Or at least that we see on television, that no one's talking to Bruce, but he sees Caleb is talking to everybody, and he sort of takes his anger out on Caleb.
Absolutely.
He said something either in an interview or to Katora, something along the lines of like wanting to regain control, which is basically how Bruce has always been, that he wants control over Bello, and now he sort of sees that like, he feels like his ego's getting hurt because no one really wants to work with him. No one's talking to him.
Caleb do what he can't do.
Which is being a social player, really.
Right. And like people are coming up to Caleb. No one's coming up to Bruce. That hurts his ego a little bit. Also, like,
takes it out on
he's
Caleb.
Playing it off as in like, well, no one's talking to me. I'm not talking to anybody because I'm Bello Strong. Like, I'm waiting for our group, like, but it's really, he's just mad that no one's talking to him.
Yeah.
And he said he feels like he's been picked last in dodgeball. Well, but you can't get mad at Caleb because he has what you want.
Yeah. It's just an ego thing with Bruce, and I can.
It's always been an ego thing.
And we know that.
And Katurah has seen through it from day one.
Caleb's mad about it, and here we get the first inkling that Kelly is mad at Bruce and sort of over Bruce and his Bruciness here. She sort of is done with Bruce, and she's past the Bruce train. So Uncle Bruce is wearing out its welcome. It appears.
I wrote down. It feels like Bruce is kind of ousting himself.
Yeah, I think Bruce's days are numbered here. I think that's what's really tough for Bruce, is that I think his days are numbered. Luckily, he does have an idol, so they're going to have to do some sort of blindside on Bruce. I do think it's just a matter of time. For whatever reason, they went with, they chose to get Reba out first. I think they're going to try to get out Kelly next, especially the Reba 4, trying to move that along maybe.
Kelly?
But just because of the Austin amulet nonsense.
Oh, right.
But I think there's a possibility that they can try to find a way to move that to Bruce and keep Kelly. The Reba 4 may want to get out Kelly, but I think everyone else might want to get Bruce off of... Because right now, Reba's down 1, so the idea would then be either to continue to rain down on Reba, or if you're like a Lulu person, Emily or Caleb, flip to Reba and try to rain down a little bit on Bello. And then it's a matter of who you vote out on Bello: Kelly, Bruce, Kendra, Jake. Is that everybody? Am I forgetting something? Do you only have 4?
Kelly, Jake.
And then Reba has 5 now?
Katurah,
thank you. So yeah, now it's 5v5. Actually, it's 5v5, so it is even, with just the other 2 being Lulu. So it's a matter of now of who do you, now that they're even, who do you try to knock down? Do you knock down Bello, do you knock down Reba, or you just get rid of the 2 people and just have the last 2 tribes go at it? We get to a challenge where it is the Make the Merge challenge, of course. We do a random divide. Basically, you're going to have to crawl under a muddy net, push a cart with sandbags on it. Then when you get to the end of that cart race, you have to build a sandbag tower, climb it, get keys, or have everybody climb it, get some keys, slide down a net, scale like a round boulder, then solve a 2-part puzzle. First team that wins is immune, and they, of course, make the merge. Making the merge means that they can vote at tribal council, but they're safe, so it doesn't really matter for them. The no color rock person, which ends up being Katurah, bets on the winner, so Katurah ends up betting on team 2. Do you have any thoughts on this challenge? Do you think you could do well in this challenge, or which part? It's a very long challenge. There's a lot of pieces at play in this challenge. Do you think you could do well here? Which parts do you think you could do better at than others?
I just wrote down muddy. Okay, so there's a net. You got to crawl through the net.
Yeah, the mud net.
There's a ball. There's something with a cart.
There, you have to push the cart with the sandbags with the rest of your team. Build a tower. Climb the tower. Get some keys at the top. That's easy. Then go down this net.
I know
ramp.
you just went through all this, but it left my brain immediately.
I know. Go to the net thing, scale a boulder, then solve a 2-part puzzle. What do you think you could be best at? You basically have to do all of it.
I think I would crush it.
Whoa.
I think I would crush all of it.
That's so much confidence. I think you could do fairly well.
Yeah.
I think, I sort of talked about it, is that I think the women, or anyone really with like longer hair, but it tends to be the women for some reason. Even the guys with long hair don't really seem to be that phased.
Because their hair is still like shorter than
the average woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems. I've noticed this trend across a couple seasons where the women in any of these sort of mud tunnels or mud net situations constantly get their hair caught up in the net, in the netting. It happens with that tunnel gimmick, the sphincter, the muddy sphincter. And here again happens with the net gimmick. It seems for some reason as a woman that is they tend to get caught up more than the guys.
As Usher would say, caught up.
As he would say. He would also say, yeah.
Yeah?
Just throwing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think you can nail the muddy section? I think you can nail the muddy section.
I could.
And then it's just pushing.
I'm not afraid to get dirty.
Whoa.
I don't like my hands being sticky.
Jessie, we're not married yet.
I think I just hit the mic. I'm sorry.
You're fine. The pushing of the cart, that's not a big deal, right? You just push a cart with the rest of your team. Scaling the sandbags.
You say that like it's not like heavy and you're not tired from just like crawling through mud.
Sure. But that's still like you're not by yourself there. Mm-hmm. Scaling the sandbags, you can probably help out with that, or you can take a breath, then you scale it. That's no big deal.
Yeah. The ball part, like...
The ball part...
Let me tell you.
The military wall gimmick thing.
Listen, we did that in middle school.
The military wall?
Yeah. They had, like, obstacle course, this, like, retreat camp thing we went to. Mm-hmm. And my group did amazing at the wall. Mm-hmm. Just saying. We did amazing. Yeah, we nailed it in, like, record time.
We did a similar thing in high school for the Scholars Program. All the scholars went out and did one of those retreat gimmick things as well. And... we had Chris Dagdag. Shout out to Chris Dagdag. That was his name. He was part of the JRTC program, which is like the sort of like semi-military sort of gimmick at our school because we were the cadets. He just ran up, scaled the wall by himself, and then he was the guy helping pulling people
We had one of those too. That was Matthew King. He just like scaled it, and then he pulled everybody up.
And then I think it was me and another dude that were at the kind of like the base people at the bottom that kind of help push people up.
I was a base person. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I remember having to lift people up.
Yeah.
And I think I was one of the last people up, but I don't think I was the last person. I can't remember who was.
Yeah. The problem there is
because they had to be like a light person that could get a running start. And that wasn't me.
I was still like 5'8" at this time. So not like extremely tall where I'm at now.
You're like average.
I went from in high school.
We were about the same height in high school.
From freshman year of high school to senior year of high school, I went from 5'8" to 6'4" in 4 years.
So when we started high school, we were the same height. Because in fifth grade, I shot up to like 5'6". No, I was 5'5" and a quarter. Because I was 5'6" and a quarter. I was 5.5 and a quarter.
Yeah.
In fifth grade.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to high school, we were the same height.
And what are you now?
Shut up.
No, I'm genuinely asking.
I'm 5'7". Sometimes if I have good posture, I'm 5'8".
And I'm 6'5" now. So it's like, you've basically...
We started high school at the same height.
Yeah, we stayed the same. You've stayed the same. And I've shot up like a beanstalk.
That's wild that we started high school at the same height.
Exactly.
Because you are like a foot taller than me.
Pretty much. I mean, what is that? 9 inches? 9 inches taller?
Like, I have to look up to talk to you.
Yeah.
And we started high school at the same height.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. But the problem with being one of those base people all the time is that, like, you don't want to be, like, a heavy base person at the end there. You want a base person there, but you don't want to have, like, make it impossible for them to try to, like, get up. But luckily I was, like, still light and one of the taller people, I guess, as a freshman in high school. So I was able to help people up at that point. But yeah, I think about that every once in a while.
So what you're saying is we're going on Survivor.
At the very least, I think you could do well. I'm not sure about me. I might have Drew.
I can survive in the woods.
I think I could do well at the strategy. I think I could be fine at the athletic part. I feel like I would need to get better shape, obviously. I say that I'm going to be able to unclimb the ladder. I'm going to Brandon myself. Anyways, so we split into
a verb now.
Yes, we split into two teams. Team 1, Caleb, J. Maya, Jake, D, Emily, and Kelly. Team 2, Sifu, Drew, Austin, Bruce, Julie, and Kendra. So that team 1 is red, team 2 is blue. Basically, blue knocks it out of the park the entire time. Red has a lot of troubles, and I think it was specifically J. Maya is the one that has the most trouble in the muddy net obstacle. I think it was her and maybe Kelly as well, maybe Emily, I don't remember. But it was really J. Maya, I recall, having a tough time getting through the hair because her hair kept getting stuck. So Bruce Blue has just a pretty good head start. They beat up everything. They get to the puzzle first. They finish their first puzzle as red team starts their first puzzle. Drew on the blue team ends up kind of like just solving the second part of the puzzle, because the first part of the puzzle is you put stuff together and then it kind of like is images plus words or minus words or times whatever. And you just sort of, I forget, there's a name for that puzzle. But you just kind of...
It's not an anagram.
It's not an anagram. Pictogram? Is that something? That feels right. So you're just sort of like putting that together. Drew kind of like solves it for everybody, and he just gives it to his team, and they just easily put it together. And Blue wins handily. So they become immune. They make the merge. They can cast a vote without getting voted on, and they end up going to Sanctuary. So Blue ends up dominating this. Drew really helps them on the puzzle part. I didn't really know anyone that was a big key part of the blue team winning and all the other stuff. It's just like they kind of just do really well. Sanctuary. Let's talk about the Sanctuary. Or do you have any other thoughts about the challenge here?
No, Your Honor.
Perfect. At Sanctuary, they enjoy the food. They imbibe. They're all still very muddy.
Yeah. Why didn't they wash off?
Why did they wash off? They're eating a lot of finger food stuff.
Because it wasn't he like at this time like there'll be a boat to take you to the Sanctuary. Like, do you think he was hoping that they would wash up first?
I don't know. But they were all muddy eating this food, and I was like, y'all don't have to eat this food while muddy.
Drag your hand in through the boat in the water and like wash your hands.
Well, I don't know about that because the boat's going pretty quick. You might hurt your hand pretty bad.
You'll be fine.
All right.
You'll be fine.
All right. Sure.
It's not going lightning fast. You're fine.
So they start putting up people's names. Sifu puts out J Maya because he, has been gunning for J Maya. Everyone joins up on that thought. Julie actually does a very good move here where she says, "Yeah, J Maya voted for Sifu," and that thing. Continuing
throwing her under the bus, that she volunteered to be thrown under the bus.
Correct. Continuing the lie that J Maya and that team have been perpetuating.
Yeah.
So it's a good time for that.
They've been saying that like she's gonna drop us as soon as we get to the merge. She thinks her tribe has her back.
Yeah.
She was never gonna drop them. They're dropping her. They're forcing it.
Yeah.
And I think like Jay really does depend too much on them.
Yeah. She's too loyal.
Yeah.
She's too loyal to people that aren't loyal to her.
And the whole time I just want to be like, cut them loose, Jay.
She doesn't
Do your
realize
own thing.
She doesn't know it at all.
Do your own thing. You can go far. Mm-hmm. Do your own thing. Forget about them. Play them. Use them.
Just like her, what was the first episode? When
they don't care about you.
Just like the first episode where she's at that sort of puzzle that's on Reba's tribe flag. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, I'm trying to solve the puzzle, but I just don't have whatever the cipher is that I need. She's trying to play this game well, but she just is missing the piece of the puzzle, which is people don't trust her. Or people not trust her, but people aren't just loyal.
Use them and lose them because they don't give a shit about you, Jay.
Julie brings up the idea of Emily and Caleb because Julie's like, well, there's Lulu people, so why not? They're not here.
Just get out, Lulu.
Get out, Lulu. Kendra sees Caleb as a big threat, and they really throw up Caleb's name. Katora attempts to defend him, but gets lambasted by Kendra and Bruce, and is sort of shocked by them continually throwing out Caleb because she was like, I thought they all liked Caleb. I thought Kendra was cool with Caleb. I thought Bruce was cool with Caleb. They were part of that group. And now they want to drop him like a ton of bricks.
Well, I'm sure at the end of that conversation, it was hard for her to deny that he is a huge threat. I know that she's like, we still need him, but like, it's hard to deny.
Yeah. I said at the beginning
of the... He's a tough one to beat.
I said at the beginning of the season that like as soon as I was putting like Caleb on my tribe, like he's so good. He looks like so good of a player. He ended up being a great player. That's like as soon as the merge happens, people are going to try to vote him out.
Yeah. It's
so tough at that point because everyone recognizes how good he is. We've talked about how good his balling skills are. We talked. Whoa. What? Am I wrong?
His ball skills? His balling?
I said his balling.
Yeah.
His balling skills.
I was trying to make a joke there. It didn't work. It didn't land. Moving on.
It's all right. We'll leave it in.
Of course you will. You'll cut out all your jokes that don't land, but you'll leave mine in so people think I'm not funny.
All my jokes land. We cut out the size that you make. we leave my jokes in. We just cut out the size. So Katora's
crickets for everybody else's reaction.
Katora's sort of shocked by it. Kendra, it's interesting to me that Kendra again is gunning for Caleb and not Emily. I think she just sort of more recognizes that Caleb is a threat, which is fair.
But Caleb is the group consensus.
And he is a little bit it felt like that she sort of brought up Caleb first. Bruce being there is the one that doubles down on Caleb and really gets the ball rolling there. I think it easily could have been the same conversation about Emily. I think, however, that they just see, now that it's more of an individual game, they just sort of see Caleb as the bigger threat, which is completely fair. I think they might double back to Emily, but it easily could have had the same conversation of Kendra being like, I want to get rid of Emily. She lied to me about this. She's coming in here. She's not two-timing, but, double playing everybody. And Bruce being like, yeah, I don't like Emily. I didn't like her from the jump with what happened at day one. I don't, she apologized, but I did not forgive her really. The conversation easily could have been on Emily. It just happened to fall on Caleb instead.
Yeah. Well, because I think, too, Emily's an easy target, but, Caleb is the big fish.
Yeah. And at this point, this is big move season, right?
Yeah.
These big moves are going to start trying to come all over the place, which is just going to create targets for everybody as we get to more big moves coming down the pipe with Caleb here. So we get back to camp. J. Maya is the first person that throws up, well, I guess other than Julie, she throws up the Lulu vote idea of voting someone, either Emily or Caleb. Jake is unsure about Caleb, but J. Maya thinks he's a big threat. D throws up J. Maya to Caleb and Jake. That starts spreading. So I wrote down here that both groups separately pitch Caleb and J. Maya as their top two vote people.
Yeah, which means it's going to be a pretty easy tribal, one-sided tribal.
Yeah, these two sides basically agree on who are the top two people we should vote out, J. Maya or Caleb. Back from commercial, people link up, start talking about Caleb and J. Maya. Bellold ladies think, this is Katora, Kelly, and Kendra, think J. Maya. Bruce wants Caleb out. So we start off, it sort of starts leaning J. Maya. Bruce steps in and says Caleb, because screw pre-merge alliances. He's full on board. He's like, I don't care about this. I don't care about pre-merge alliances anymore. We're doing an individual game. I want to make sure I get one of the biggest threats out of this group, and that's Caleb, which is completely fair. So it starts leaning that one. Bruce is the one that ultimately starts voting for Caleb. He starts talking with Austin, Drew, and Sifu. They all want to put votes on Caleb. They recognize that he's a big threat. Everyone is on Caleb, and Emily helps Caleb by telling him that everyone is on his ass. This is the point where Caleb tells everyone about Bruce's idol to try to sway some votes off of him and be like, hey, Bruce is a threat too.
A valiant effort. But you have to appreciate, Emily's bluntness.
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
Because she smokes.
Do you get my joke?
Yeah, because she smokes.
Emily Blunt? Emily's blunt. Okay. Everyone, you can laugh at that joke so that Ryan has to keep it in.
Oh, we're going to cut it. I'm joking. Fuck
you, man. I'm making gold here.
You're spitting gold.
I'm spitting gold. Anyway, I appreciate her bluntness. She just goes straight to Caleb.
Or Emily bluntness. Leave it in. Continue.
I'm going to throw something at you.
But the tea! I'm scalded. I turn into the Two-Face.
It's not that hot anymore.
Okay.
And she's like, it's play your shot in the dark.
Yeah, she's basically telling Caleb, you got to play your shot in the dark.
Everyone's going for you.
That much of a threat.
I love when he was talking about Bruce. Oh, Bruce hates you.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay. Bruce really doesn't like you.
Yeah, he took that news oh, I see how this is.
She was not pulling punches.
Yeah, which is
great.
Which is
that's a good use of Emily's bluntness.
A great ally.
And a great avenue for her unfiltered opinions.
Yeah, it's be like, yeah, he doesn't like you at all.
Yeah.
And he's like,
this is where it's valuable
versus
hazard.
Yeah, it's reining it in and using it strategically like that. So yeah, she's the one that really tells him to play his shot in the dark. So yeah, Caleb is trying. Nothing's really holding. We get the tribal council. The safe people, of course, they're having such a good time. They're laughing. They're joking. They're all safe. And meanwhile, everyone, all the losers were like,
fuck you guys.
I don't really know about this one. This is tough. Caleb then throws out a Hail freaking Mary.
He just buried himself here.
Yes, he calls out J. Maya as a massive threat and says that she is a way bigger threat because he was asked by Sifu, he's like, Caleb's like, I don't think I'm the biggest threat here. And Sifu's like, well, who do you think is? And he's like, J. Maya. Whether or not he believes that to be true, but he is basically trying to sell really hard, call out J. Maya, and it kind of blows up in his face.
It really blows up in his face. It really, I think at that moment, everyone was like, the numbers are Caleb.
Yeah. He then continues. He sort of talks about the strategies of Dee and Julie. He says that Dee and Julie are a little hot right now in terms of targets.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong because he understands all this stuff. He says that Dee and Julie are a little hot right now. It would make sense for them to vote J. Maya and get J. Maya out because of then it will lower their target because then everyone would think they're weaker. And Dee, of course, gets offended by that. She's like, well, you just called out my strategy, so of course you're bringing my name up. I'm going for this way. So everyone is really just looking at Caleb here. Yeah. I think it really blew up in his face.
I wrote Drew was trying to be diplomatic and dramatic.
Yes, Drew has a great ending line, doesn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Me neither. I didn't write it down.
But Caleb, I just wrote, buddy, you done fucked yourself.
Yeah, he really tried hard, and I'm very intrigued to see how the next episode goes, and see how much, because it feels like to me that he sort of not only blew up his game here a little bit, and it 100% would have been him going home, and we'll get to that. He pulled the
pin and he held the grenade. He took everybody down with him.
Yeah, he took Dee down, he took J. Maya down, he took Julie down. It could have expanded even more if he continued talking. He blew up his game and blew up his game moving forward. I am terrified and excited to see if and how he gets out of the hole he has dug himself.
Well, because, as we now know, his shot in the dark worked.
He plays the shot in the dark, and it's safe.
If Jamie hadn't done her bullshit last season...
Sure.
You would have been way more excited. I mean, you were very excited.
I was hopping off.
Hopping and hollering.
Yeah, so Caleb plays a shot in the dark.
Hooping and hollering. Baller.
Caleb does a shot in the dark. He is safe. 100% safe. 1 in 6 chance he makes it safe.
How awesome would that have been to be the first shot in the dark that
100%.
works?
100%.
Other than Jamie's
out of nowhere.
Bullshit.
Out of nowhere, unnecessary.
Another reason why I did not like Jamie.
This moment made fantastic TV. I wrote, he's safe. Holy shit. Look at all my capitals on this notebook here, Jess.
Oh my God.
I chicken scratch.
He took up a third of the page.
He's safe. Holy shit. It's a massive move. Because we're talking about here that all the eyes are on him.
He needs to find an idol.
And, 100%. 100% needs to find an idol. Because as we get into...
or just keep winning immunity.
Yeah. He, of course, shot in the dark. His vote, he doesn't have a vote anymore. So what are the votes? Only, we also find out that also Austin doesn't vote because he has his gimmick of it now extends into the final 6. So we get only 11 votes. All 11 votes are on Caleb. A full-on, full people. And what's important here to note, everyone votes for Caleb, including
Katurah and Emily.
People that are in his camp.
Who probably were like, this is inevitable. I have to be on the right side of the numbers.
100%.
Because they were like, he doesn't have an idol. There's no way his shot in the dark's going to work.
And he just put a whole ton of heat on himself.
Yeah. And they were probably like, we have to do this because he is going home. And we can't be the people that put somebody else's name down.
Yeah. It would be embarrassing at this point for them to not put down
So
Caleb.
I understand it.
100%. 100%. But at the end of the day, Caleb's safe. The entire tribe.
Because if that had 1 in 4 chance didn't work.
1 in 6.
1 in 6, sorry. 1 in 6 chance didn't work. He was going home.
100%. 100%.
They made the right move.
Yeah.
Because he was going home.
Yeah.
He was saved by a miracle.
Yes. The luckiest man in the world. He talked about he would get a lottery ticket after this. A luckiest man in the world. We now have to do a revote. with whoever. We sort of get a live tribal situation where people start breaking off into groups, talking about who should vote for. There's a moment where J. Maya throws out, we need to vote Emily. Again, recall.
Oh, poor babe.
J. Maya is the person that originally said back at camp that she wanted to throw up the Lulu vote. So if it wasn't Caleb, she's throwing Emily. Kator's like, can you get the numbers for that? And she's like, I can get the numbers.
Meanwhile, she turns around. Everyone's like, J. Maya, J. Maya, J. Maya. There was a shot where, like, she would go up to somebody and be like, it's Emily. Someone would come up right next to her and be like, J. Maya. And they'd be like, yeah, J. Maya.
Yeah. There's a moment where, like, everyone starts sitting down and she just goes to one person after another, just saying, I need you to vote for Emily tonight. I need you to vote for Emily tonight. And everyone's like, yeah, sure.
And they turn to the person next to them, J. Maya, J. Maya.
So, yeah, literally, we get to the vote. We finally get to the vote. J. Maya votes for Emily. Every single other person votes for J. Maya.
Yeah.
Of course, I believe Austin can't vote here because we have 11 votes.
Yeah, I don't think he can vote.
Austin doesn't vote. Caleb doesn't vote. 11 votes. Emily gets 1 vote from J. Maya. Every single other person votes out J. Maya. J. Maya is gone from Survivor.
You know what was sad?
What's that?
She was the person I was going to swap out.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So what do you think about J. Maya? How do you think about her performance? What could she have done right? What could she have done better?
She could have played her own game. And
it felt like she was playing other people's games.
She put a lot of faith in Dee and Julie and her tribe. I don't think she was very aware of anything happening around her. I think that she tried to play the game by the book of, like, how you should play.
Sure.
I think she played the game in her head a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think she was fully aware.
And I don't necessarily know if it was overconfidence or just sort of like self-awareness, but she thought her game was way better than it actually was. She thought she was obviously way better of a social player, looking at Katora be like, I can get the votes, not getting a single vote.
Yeah.
Like, she obviously thought better of herself and thought maybe she was a bigger mover and a shaker. And in actuality, she wasn't at all.
I think part of it is because she aligned herself so close to Julie and Dee, who had no intention of keeping her, no intention of, like, bringing her into that alliance, and who also have a lot more pull than she does.
Yeah.
If she had taken, like, the chance and separated herself from them, maybe teamed up with Sifu, gone head to head with Julie and Dee, that might have worked out better for her before the merge.
Yeah.
But the fact that she kind of aligned with them because it was like, they're the powerful players in this situation, I need to go with them instead of saying this is my opportunity to take them down.
Yeah.
Playing her own game. Yeah.
Do you think there was any idea? Do you think it would have been a smart idea to vote out Emily here instead? Do you think people should have gone? Do you think people should have gone and agreed with J. Maya and voted out Emily instead?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you think just because J. Maya was number 2 on the ballot that they just voted out J. Maya?
I think J. Maya was the easy vote. I think Emily was the right vote.
Why do you think Emily was the right vote? That's very interesting.
Because she's, like Caleb, she's in the middle of these two groups. Right? Like, they're, swing votes, I guess. And, like, maybe she doesn't have, like, the strongest social game like Caleb does. But she has survived from that first day of, like, her and Bruce having a fight in the day one. I don't know. I feel like she is clearly able to make stronger connections with people than Jay is.
Yeah.
And she is an analyst. She's a strategist. Like, she knows what she's doing. And she's gaining self-awareness, which in this game is a lot of power.
Yeah.
And I think you take her out before she reaches enlightenment.
Sure.
I think you got to take her out now. I think, unfortunately, I don't think Jay's game was going anywhere. I think Emily's is.
Yeah. And I think, and it's also, like, indicative of, like, her first day, right? It was basically her and Brandon, I believe.
Yeah.
And she survived since then. Same sort of thing I think could happen here is that I think Emily will get less votes as the days go on. I think people see her as a threat at the beginning. They'll get to know her and realize, oh, she actually isn't that bad, which will help her. Caleb really helped her in that way.
Yeah.
Emily would have been a better move maybe to get out, but ultimately getting out Caleb or J. Maya, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I mean,
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this episode?
No. I was going to swap out Jay.
Yes, so let's talk about our fantasy totals. So, of course, we've been doing this. We have our Scurvivor Series teams. What left we have on our team? You have Drew, Jake, you had J Maya, and you also have Katora that is left on your team. You're down to now just Drew, Jake, and Katora. I am down to Julie, Caleb, and Kelly. According to those groups of people, Drew got 13 points, Jake got 3 points, J Maya got 10 points, and Katora got 18 points, bringing that total for your team up to, I believe it was 44 points, Jess?
Yep.
For me, Julie got 13 points, Caleb got a whopping 28 points, and Kelly got 3 points. This is all from globaltv.com and how they do their point totals. That brings me to 44 points this episode. So a total bust in ties, which stinks. But we have more points, of course, to reward.
I'm not giving Caleb another MVP. I know you want me to.
Well, let's talk about it. So the MVP discussions, going down the line of the people that are left. Austin MVP, he's wins immunity and kind of survive. I don't think Austin has a real thing here. Bruce finds an idol and he survives, and he tries to get out Caleb and it's unsuccessful.
Partly because of who, Ryan?
Of Emily. We'll get down to. I'm just going down the list. D. I don't think D was really involved in this episode that much. Drew, same thing. He was on a winning tribe, so there's that. Emily, losing tribe in terms of the challenge, right? But she's the one that tells Caleb about you should use your shot in the dark. Would Caleb have done it without Emily's help? Maybe. Who knows? But at the very least,
I don't think he realized how
bad it was.
How one-sided it was, like how unanimous it was.
Yeah.
I think he thought, enough people are also annoyed with Bruce. They might throw Bruce's name. Oh, wait, he couldn't be voted. Hold on. Who else was it?
Yeah, it's interesting. You're right. Bruce couldn't be voted. Why was he then telling everybody, well, Bruce got an idol? Like what?
Maybe so that they don't believe what Bruce says.
Yeah. But again, okay, Bruce is safe.
I don't know. I think he thought more people would go for Jay than they did.
So Emily's really the one there that shouts out, you should use your shot in the dark, which ends up keeping Caleb. Worked out very well. Jake, I don't really think he did a lot in this episode. J Maya goes home. You can't give her MVP. Julie, she's fine. I don't know if, she's on the winning tribe, so there's that. She's the one that puts out Emily and Caleb's name out at the sanctuary. Caleb, he is on the losing tribe again. He has everyone voting for him, but he plays his shot in the dark and is in safe.
I don't think you can get MVP for being lucky.
Lucky? Yeah, that's the ultimate question.
For your only move being luck. I'm leaning toward Emily.
That's fair. Katora, I don't really think she's on a winning tribe as well. I don't really think there's anything there. Kelly, I don't think there's anything there. Kendra, I don't think anything's there. And then Sifu, again, I think there's a lot of weak arguments here, and a lot of it comes down to whether or not you want to give MVP to someone that is just luck based. Do you want to give MVP to someone that is on a losing tribe that did get a vote at the end, but ultimately was the person that did not go home and saved their big time alliance in Caleb? In Emily, I think that's a very valid point. No one really got who they wanted to go home, which was Caleb. So it just comes down to Emily is a loser, but loser in the challenge, but helps Caleb win and doesn't get voted out. Caleb uses luck, and everybody else is on the winning tribe and doesn't get who they want. So I don't think there's great cases for MVP. It might come down to personal preference, Jess. But do you have your pick for MVP in your noodle?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see again the people that won. You can maybe make an argument for Bruce. He finds an idol. He's on the winning tribe. He recognizes Caleb as a threat, and he's really the one that really starts putting Caleb out there and gunning for Caleb. Caleb would have gone home, if it wasn't for Emily, I guess. But Emily, that's a great defensive move in a way. Even though she wasn't the one that did the move, I guess. Caleb could have easily not done his shot in the dark. Tora, I don't really see anything there. Seafood did a Kamehameha or whatever. You like the rain. All right. You like the rain down in Fiji. All right. You ready for your MVP pick? 3,
Yes.
2, 1. Bruce. Emily for defense. Bruce for offense.
Yeah.
Caleb would have gone home if it wasn't for Emily. Emily. No, sorry. Yes, Caleb would have gone home if it wasn't for Emily saying something. Again, whether or not Caleb still would have done it, I think you're right that Emily convinced him, you should definitely do this. But yeah, Bruce would have garnered enough power, garnered enough convincing of everybody, and everybody seeming convinced, after him talking. Austin, Drew, and Sifu were like, yeah, I think Caleb is the one to vote for after we saw Bruce talking to them, right? So this idea of Bruce seemed to have been... No one wanted to talk to Bruce at the beginning, but after their tribe wins the challenge, Bruce starts talking to everybody, and he gets Caleb as the number one target.
I can see that.
But it was, again, Emily the one that noticed Bruce's gameplay and saved Caleb, and only got one vote out of it. So does she get a lot of target on her back? Maybe not. Maybe Bruce has a lot of heat on his back now. Who's to say? But yeah, Bruce... Emily, they're neither of our teams. None of us get any bonus points. We both get 44. I'm away from my computer, so I don't see what our episode totals. If you click on that numbers, the green thing next to the Spotify there, click on that, and we can add our totals together. I can stand up. So click on this drop down here. This is the fun part. Click that. I'm going to keep all of this in. Go to desktop.
Could I just have hit Scurvivor
Yeah, you could have.
series?
Scurvivor series and then the game card there.
Always wants to do things the hard way.
I do. And then open that bad boy up beanie. I'm not going to add in the totals and stuff because I'll just do that later. But basically, we're adding 44 each to each person. You have 257 plus 44. That brings you up to 301. Very nice, Bean.
Woo-hoo.
And I'm at 220 plus 44 brings me to 264. That's still a difference of 37 points for this episode. But now, as we talked about at the top of the season, Scurvivor Series, we have these 5 teams, right? Or five-person teams at the start of the season. At the very start, after the first episode, we gave each other the option to drop a player and pick up someone else. I chose to drop Brandon. Very glad I did that. And I swapped him out for Kelly. You chose not to swap out anybody. But now we're both down to 3 people each.
Let's talk about this.
You're talking to the microphone, please.
Let's talk about this. I've got Drew, Katora, and Jake.
I got Drew, Katora, and Jake too on my team. What's up? Is there something on my microphone or my face?
Yeah.
A little hair?
Yeah.
That's my dinner.
Ew.
So
Listen,
Katora,
I could leave it.
Let's talk about you first.
I could leave
Katora,
it.
Jake, and Drew.
I could just leave that.
You are the person that gets right. If we're deciding, you are the person that gets to change their team first. I was the person that went first last time. You're the person that still, despite you in the lead, we're deciding here that you're getting.
Do you hear that, guys? Do you hear that spite in his voice?
A little bit there. So you're going to get the pick first of who, if you want to drop anybody, and who do you want to pick up?
Okay, so let's think about this for a second.
So you have on your team Katora, Jake, and Drew. Available to you are Austin, Bruce, D, Emily.
I've already narrowed it down to 2 people.
Kendra and Sifu. Go ahead.
3 people.
Sifu?
Honestly,
Really?
people are gonna forget about him. He's not gonna be a threat until they've realized that he's left.
He does have a fake idol.
He does have a fake idol. That's probably gonna get him ousted. Listen, I could just leave my team. I have I have some good people on my team. I don't have anyone who's too high profile. But I think Jake is fine. I think I'm going to leave Jake, right?
Jake, make it the cut. Why Jake? Why keeping Jake around?
Did you hear that?
What?
That loud noise? Was that you? Oh.
That's the chair, yeah. This chair is very busted.
I think Jake is like kind of middle of the road.
Okay.
Like he's not making waves. He's not making enemies.
Uh-huh.
He's there. So I think he's fine for now.
Okay. He's probably
I think he could be the person that ends up in the top 3 being person number 3.
Fair. Fair. Probably a fair thought.
He's a decent third place option.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's really making big waves.
No.
Anywhere.
Drew
Yeah.
is, but he's got the shield of Austin.
He has a meat shield.
He has a meat shield, which, as we've seen, works pretty well. Who had the meat shield last season?
Who was the meat shield last season?
Danny was the meat shield.
Yeah, he was.
Who was?
Danny was and he wasn't. I don't really remember. But Danny was kind of like all over the place. So I don't really remember what was up with Danny.
So, but he's also one of the people that could be, a target pretty soon.
Drew, we're talking about?
Yeah. Katora, Bruce is definitely going to gun for Katora.
Drew definitely has a lot of firepower. He has meat shields, and he's surrounded by an alliance of 4 people. He is bigger threat than Austin, but I think just because of the meat shield stuff, people will see Austin as the bigger threat than Drew, especially since Austin is about to have 2 idols. Yeah. Or no, I think he has, no, not the amulet yet, but he's very close to having 2 idols.
So, like, if you were me, would you drop any of these people?
So you're down what? What about Katora? You didn't really talk about Katora there.
I did talk about Katora. You just weren't listening.
Okay, talk about... okay, then never mind.
I said Bruce is definitely gunning for Katora.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's going to come down to Bruce or Katora.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know who's going to win in that scenario. I feel like Katora would win.
So, yeah, you asked me if I were you, what would I do in this situation?
Yeah.
I don't want to say. I don't feel like that's fair. I think this has to be a you decision.
Would you drop Drew?
I don't know. I mean, he is so protected in his group. I think he's such a threat. I think 100% he's not making to the top 3. It's either he's in the top 3 and is a contender to win the entire game, or he gets voted out. People realize what's happening and he gets voted out. That's really where I'm at with this guy. Is that can he maintain that?
What about Katora?
Katora, I think she can make a little bit. In terms of length, I think she can make a little bit there. I don't think she's as big of a threat as anyone would say.
No, I think she's making herself a threat.
That's yeah. I mean, yeah, she's making herself
a
a threat.
good way.
It's just she's more of like a social threat, not social detriment, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes her an interesting candidate.
Because I was thinking, I'm thinking I would either pick up Emily, Kendra, or Sifu.
Okay, talk about the people you're thinking of picking up.
I feel like I wouldn't go for Austin D or Bruce. They're too high profile. They're not going to make it.
Okay.
It's like a Caleb situation. Like they have a timestamp, an expiration date.
Yeah.
Emily, I feel like.
Yeah, what about Emily? She's an interesting case. She is certainly an interesting case.
Yeah, it's hard. Emily could make it far. I think no one would want to go up against her in the final 3, so they would probably make her make fire if given the choice.
Yeah, which would make sense. And then if she wins, then she could be in.
I think Kendra...
What part of votes has she been a part of so far? I mean, the Austin Drew one, the Bella one of getting Brando out.
Yeah.
She hasn't really done any big moves or anything. Her story right now is just surviving, really.
Yeah. Which was the Tika MO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All these people saw Tika, so they recognize that.
Man, I don't know. I want your advice.
Well, I can't give you my advice or what I would do. This is your team,
Who do you want?
Jessie, I can't say. That's not...
I'm so torn. What's your analysis of the situation?
I think you're in a tough spot. I think Drew is the biggest threat, but he's also the most protected. I think Jake is not really much of anything, so will he get a lot of points? I don't know, but I think he can easily go the distance more than anybody
he's going to
else.
keep crying on camera, and he's going to keep having medics called on him. So I'm going to get points with Jake.
Yeah, there's potentially that Jake gets out of the game for his low blood sugar, so that could be valuable, I guess, in a way. It's tough. It's tough. But again, he can go the distance if he doesn't get medevaced out. But other than that, he's kind of a low points scorer. I can go the
distance.
Katora,
my way.
Katora, like Bruce, as the time goes on, becomes more and more of an annoyance for her tribe in a weird way. But
if she can make it through that awkward phase and turn it around, I think she could do fine.
But people are also turning on Bruce a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She just needs to get through this. She needs to let the Bruce stuff happen and let it go.
Yeah. So that's my thought, is that I think everyone on your side right now have pluses and minuses. It just comes down to your opinion. You don't have to get rid of anybody if you don't want to.
I was going to get rid of J. Maya.
I know. But now you've had a couple days to think about it.
Before.
Mm-hmm. Now you have a couple days to think about it. So you have to give us your decision. Is there anyone that you think...
Now you know why I was trying to stall in this episode.
I know.
I hadn't decided.
I know. And you're stalling here now. Is there
I'm
anyone?
talking it out.
Is there anyone that's a better player than the 3 people on your team? Good cough.
That's the problem, I think, is that some of my players are like Drews.
Who do you think is a better player that could be a better distance point getter that is open, that is better than your 3 team members? What do you think?
I think Kendra's probably an even swap for Jake.
Sure.
Or Katora.
Sure.
I think Emily...
Kendra doesn't really have any heat.
No, she would be an even swap.
Yeah. I would say even swap with Jake. Katora's got a little heat.
Well, and the thing is, do I want people with heat? I want them to make it to the end.
Mm-hmm. But people on heat could be on TV more. Get you points.
Yeah, but I guess I only really need one person in the top 3.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, the top 3 of your team would be fantastic. Okay, so Kendra is sort of an even thing. Sifu?
I don't know if I would swap anybody for Sifu. I think if J. Maya was still in this, I might swap her.
Bruce? Anyone better or worse than Bruce?
I'm not taking Bruce. That man's
too hot.
Gone.
Too hot.
I was thinking Emily.
Okay.
But I don't know.
No one wanted to vote on Emily. No one sees her as a threat, seemingly.
Are you going to take Emily?
I don't know. I have ideas. I am running averages of points over here.
What? I don't have this data. Can you give me this data? Share with the class, please. Evidence must be submitted to both.
Well, I'm not saving.
sides.
I'm not saving any of this information, so that's tough. But what I'm basically finding, what I've basically found so far is that according to globaltv.com, Bruce so far has the highest average in points per episode than anybody left over so far. Right now, it looks like Emily might be the lowest. That's one. Yeah, Emily has the lowest average of points, averaging roughly 4 points an episode.
But that means she won't give me a lot of points in the long run, but she might make it to the top 3.
Emily had 1 point in episode 2. Emily had 11 points in episode 3. Emily had 6 points in episode 4. She had 1 point in episode 5, and she had 3 points in episode 6. Bruce, episode 2. Bruce had 11 points. Episode 3, 11 points. Episode 4, 11 points. Episode 5, 11 points. Episode 6, 33 points.
That was who?
Bruce.
What about Jake? I think all my people have been doing pretty well points wise.
So Bruce roughly averages 15 episodes and 15 points an episode, while Emily averages like 4 points an episode.
What about Kendra?
Kendra was like 12. I don't remember exactly, but it was like 12-ish. That was similar to like Sifu. Austin is like 13. Like he's maybe second or something like that, but he doesn't have a lot of points either.
Do you know where Jake is?
I can figure out Jake's numbers.
Yeah, you should have submitted this to evidence before we started.
My apologies, counselor. Or you're not counselor, I guess, in this case. Yeah, this is just empirical data that we are gathering live on the episode. I apologize, people. I apologize. This is stuff that we probably could have done. I thought.
Listen, sometimes you just want to do all the data for the podcast and then share it with yourselves so that you win.
And stall, because you are doing heavy stalling.
I just don't know.
Jake averages 9 points an episode. Did he want to?
I guess I don't need them all to be heavy hitters. I need one of them to make it to the final 3. I think that I'm just, once again, trying to convince myself to do a swap because I can.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And I know I don't have to. And I might regret this. I'm not saying I'm not going to swap, but I think I'm going to let you go first.
Wow. Stalling some more, folks. Wow. All right. All right.
I'll make my decision in like 30 seconds after, like within...
You have to, because I think we've elongated this episode by like 20 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Well, oh my God, 10 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have on my team Julie, Kelly, and Caleb. Caleb, he is super hot. Super hot.
You gotta drop him like it's hot.
Yeah, I gotta. Is that R. Kelly? Is that an R. Kelly song? What am I thinking?
Maybe.
I have to drop him like it's hot, like nobody's beeswax. I said at the beginning that Caleb can easily get to the merge, but he becomes a massive threat post-merge. And we already saw he almost didn't make the post-merge. Now he doesn't have a shot in the dark.
Who knows how he's going to dig himself out of this hole.
Yeah, he's upset so many people seemingly now. His only alliance seemingly is Emily and Katora, and maybe Kelly as well. Maybe Jake. He has a lot of people in the maybes that he can pull in, but guess what? He didn't pull them in here. Is he really that good now? People see him as bigger threat than anything else, and he has no saving graces.
To be fair, he was only working with half the available people because he can only throw heat on half the
Which is true.
people.
Which is true. People also might see, along with Caleb, Bruce as a threat, Drew and Austin as threats. So that is an interesting dynamic that I'm interested to see how it plays in. No, I'm walking through.
Yeah. See, that's what I was doing.
No, that's fine too. But then you took another 5 minutes on top of it. Kelly.
I didn't decide.
Kelly is an interesting person. Again, I think Kelly has a little bit of that Jake dynamic where she doesn't have really any targetism to her. She's also set herself up nicely with alliances sort of with Katora, Kendra, now Caleb a little bit. Jake you can throw in there. Well, especially for Kelly, Jake and Bruce, she's an alliance. She has this Bello and Lulu group kind of in control in her grasp, and she has no target whatsoever. I think Kelly is a person to keep personally. She's not really gunning for anyone, except she's kind of upset by Bruce a little bit. So that could be good. But I think she's fine. I think she can pull more people over to her than Bruce can pull people over to him. Well, remains to be seen there. But Kelly, she's not a bad player. She's fairly athletic. She can fairly do well. She understands strategy. She's a good hand. Can they make her far? Good. I think Kelly can also be a number 3 vote. She hasn't really involved in anything yet, but remains to be seen. I think she can go the distance. Point average wise, I don't really know how she is. I don't expect that she's that great, that high of a point getter in terms of trying to get me points as I run the numbers as we speak. And this is how you sort of talk on a podcast as you do quick math.
Well, let's see.
She's pretty decent at the very least. She's not the worst. I mean, Emily was the worst point getter here, but Kelly averages about 8 points an episode, so that's pretty low. That's lower than Jake, so that's not great, but that kind of shows where she's at. And we both think that she's in a similar category. Julie is in the not triumvirate but quadumvirate with the Reba 4, with Dee and Austin and Drew. Julie, I think she is the 4th least hot person on that group.
Wow. How shallow of you. Julie, I think you're hot.
I hate
you are one hot mama, Julie.
I hate the olds.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. You are one hot mama.
Austin and Drew are very hot. I think Dee is a little hot.
Austin's hot. Dee is hot.
Yes. All right. I think Dee has a little bit of heat on her.
Drew, not so much. Sorry, Drew.
I think Caleb did a good job of acknowledging the strategies of both of them, but because Dee spoke with Caleb more, I think people are going to focus more and center more on Dee than Julie. Julie is very smart and strategic. She continued the lie of Jay Maya with Sifu at Sanctuary. I think Julie is a good person. She's better, I think, than Kelly. She's a good person to go in the long haul. Is she a good point total getter? She's probably low as well. And just looking at these numbers real quickly, 13, 11, 11, 11, and guess what? 11. So that is what? 44 plus 13 divided by 5. That's 11 points. So that's not too bad. Oh, look at that. 11 points.
Double digits.
Double digits.
Double digits.
She's in the upper echelon maybe, but she's not too bad. I think personally, if I had to drop someone, and I maybe hate doing this, maybe I'll regret doing this, I think Caleb I have to drop. He is such a big threat. People recognize how big of a threat it is. Every single person on the tribe.
No one's going to let him get to the final 3. No one's going to want to have to go up against him.
No one wants to go against
I think that's
Caleb.
one thing they could all agree on is that nobody's going to let him get there.
Caleb is a really good athletic person. He's a very good social player, very good strategic player, and he has a huge moment of television where he played a shot in the dark and was safe. Granted, that's not really his doing, but he was lucky, and that's a huge thing for him. No one's going to let him get to the final 3. Unless he can find a way there, but he's not in any sort of power position to do so.
And there's the potential that he's going to keep winning immunity, and people are going to be like, the first opportunity that he doesn't win immunity, we're going to have to get him.
Now, him winning immunity constantly is the pro to Caleb, because that makes me get a bunch of points with Caleb winning individual immunity. So Caleb has value there, but he has so much heat. Everyone, literally every single person was willing to vote for him.
I wish you guys could see this right now. Ryan's pacing around, and he just ran into an end table.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm going to drop Caleb.
Ooh.
It sucks.
Big moves.
But he is so much
the money moves.
The regret here is that he goes on an individual immunity tear. And if that's the case, that sucks. But that is really, I think, the only way Caleb can protect himself right now. He has to find a way to get numbers.
He's a ticking time bomb.
But he is a ticking time bomb. Time is not on his side, nor Tom.
I think Tom is also not on your side.
So I am going to drop Caleb, making him available on the roster page. And who am I going to swap Caleb for? There's Austin. There's Bruce. There's D. There's... Who else? I saw Hannah. I was like, who's Hannah? There's Emily still available. Hannah was the first person
Austin,
to quit.
D, Kendra, Bruce, Emily, and Sifu.
We already sort of talked about it. I think there are people that are better suited, who are bigger point people. Caleb is a big point person for me, right? And I think that's also tragic for me, is that I need points. I'm working behind, right?
You could just keep him and use him as a way to get points. Here's what you could do. You could keep Caleb as a high point getter I'm not going to tell you what to do.
No, go ahead. No, I understand completely what you're saying. And I thought about this as well. Go ahead.
And then swap somebody else.
Yeah, Caleb, I can stick around as being a big point getter. Is he a big point getter? He's had 57 points across these episodes. Divide by 5, that's 11 points. He's not really a big point getter. That
could be.
That's the same. No, that's the same point average.
28 points this episode.
Yeah, but that average of 11 points is the exact same as Julie. He's as big as a point getter as Julie. So is really dropping him that big? It's only big if he gets a bunch of individual immunities, which is a very good chance he can do so. But if he doesn't do so, he's out. I think he's out.
Yeah. You're down to 2.
He's too risky. He's too risky of a player when I can get same amount of points with Julie. In that case, I need a good point getter. And as much...
I know what you're about to say.
As much as I hate to say this...
I know who you're going to take.
I don't like them.
I know who you're going to take.
They got a little heat on them.
I know who you're taking.
But they also have an idol.
I know. You're taking Bruce.
I think I got to take Bruce. I'm thinking it over. It's between, for me, him and Austin. Austin's a person that's about to have 2 idols and is a massive big player. I think he's a meat shield, which is tough. He can still go very far with 2 idols and being a meat shield. That means he can win individual immunity as well, which is good for him. But at this point, how many more points is he picking up beyond individual immunity? Is he better at picking up individual immunities than Bruce? That's the question for me. Can you blindside Austin enough, right, to get him out, even though he has 2 idols? That's soon to be 2 idols, right? I don't think they're gonna. I think Kelly's gonna be voted out before Austin, legitimately.
You stalled almost as much as I did.
I apologize.
See, I don't know. Maybe they like hearing the inner workings of our brains.
So if I had to pick between Bruce, someone has a little bit of heat on them, has an idol, is up there in age, so maybe he can do well in individual immunities, maybe not, hard to tell, and has got people slowly turning on him as the tide rolls on, and now everyone knowing that he has an idol, acknowledging that he's a threat there. Or do I have Austin, someone that has an idol, potentially is about to get a second idol if they vote out Kelly, which I hope they don't, is a young, strapping lad with a hot bod that can easily get some individual immunity wins, that people, I think, will see as a threat. He has a meat shield, but he also has Drew as his number 2, number 1, whatever you want to say it, in a very simpatico relationship where they can go far. They can easily be Mr. Tattoo Butt, Happy Life, whatever it was, that tattoo guy. All these names leave my head. And the other
Bruce?
guy. No, not Bruce. The guy that had the tattoo on his butt that said "Live Life" or whatever.
Jonathan?
No, not Jonathan. He was the cool Hawaiian salesman guy that teamed up with the best strategic player in Survivor history, Jessie. It was Jessie and whoever the tattoo butt guy was. I forget his name.
Who was with Jessie?
I think that their relationship, Austin Drew, is very similar to that relationship. Which to that point, I think the only way Austin goes home is if Drew betrays him and recognizes that he needs to cut Austin to help himself. Whether or not that happens, either way, I think that's happening late. That if Drew was smart, that would happen late, which means Austin can stick around for a while. And that point, I'm dropping Caleb. I'm picking up Austin. I'm going to pick up Austin.
Was it Cody?
Cody. It was Cody. I was terrified of doing this. But I have officially dropped Caleb and picked up Austin. Austin, a person that I was between him and Kelly in the first episode.
Oh my God, you didn't take Bruce.
I didn't take Bruce. I was between him and Kelly in the first episode, and I took Kelly. Should I have taken Austin? Probably. But I'm now taking him here, and hopefully Austin, with that hot pot of his, can get me some individual challenge wins, can get some good votes and a good side of votes moving forward, and can help me out moving forward. That's what I'm hoping for with Austin. And he can, at the very least, potentially play some idols, can make himself, which can maybe get me some more points. So I've decided, dropped Caleb. He's way too hot, way too risky, and picked up Austin. Jessie, you said you'll pick your person 30 seconds after I pick mine. It is up to you. You haven't dropped anybody. Caleb is now on the board.
I need you to. I don't know.
Caleb is now on the board.
I don't want Caleb.
Okay, that's fair.
No offense.
No, that's fine. I dropped him. I don't care. I dropped him.
I want Emily or Kendra, but I don't know if I want to drop anybody.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if it's worth dropping anybody for them.
So yeah, Emily, low point getter, but she can potentially be the winner, which is massive. People really feel like she could be the winner, so that's good for her. Jake, Kelly, or Kate, Jake, Kendra, Katora, they feel like all in the same boat. Drew, maybe your hottest person. I think it's really down to.
Okay, I'm keeping Drew.
Okay, I think if you think Emily is winning, like everyone else seems to be online, she might be a pickup. She's a very low point getter, right?
Who's my lowest point getter, Katora or Jake?
I have to do some math here, but let me real quickly, since I was looking up.
I mean, last episode, Drew got 1 point.
If Emily's the winner,
and Jake got 16 and Katora got 16.
If Emily's the winner, she gets 30 bonus points. So that is 30 points good for you. So you want to know between Jake, I said was what? I already did Jake. Jake was 9, right? I think he was 9 point average. Let me do Katora real quick.
I mean, I could tell you how many points they got in each. So, episode 1, I don't know how many points they got. Episode 2.
I got it right in front of me. Don't worry about it, Beanie.
Drew got 21 points, and then Katora and Jake were only at 11. Episode 3, Drew 16, Jake 11, Katora 6. And then episode 4, Jake got 6 points. They all got 6 points. Episode 5, Drew got 1 point, and Katora and Jake got 16. So it really feels like they balance out pretty well. It feels like
Katora averages 11 points per episode so far. Mm-hmm. Jake averages 9 points.
I think I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to...
You were about to say keep. You were about to say keep
Yeah,
everybody.
I know.
Which is the same thing you did.
I want Emily, but I don't know who to let go.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. I think there's all of them could easily get to the end. Well, I don't know about easily, but I think Katora and Jake could be easily third place people.
I don't think Katora's going to make it that far.
I don't think she's going to make it that far either. I don't know when she'll get voted out though, but I think she can also be a third person, and she can hang her hat on the idea of maybe voting out Bruce, assuming Bruce gets eliminated. It's not a lot of good. That's the thing. Is at the end of the day, do you think Emily or Kendra are better point getters than anyone on your team?
No, but I think that they would. I think Emily could make it to the top 3. I don't think Katora will, and I don't think Drew will.
So maybe you drop Katora. Maybe you drop Drew.
No.
Yeah, you want to keep Drew.
I'm not sure. My gut is not sure, so I'm just going to keep him.
Okay. Yeah, Katora is your second point getter there, so it is really like you might drop a lot of points here.
Yeah, she can give me points till she drops. So I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna keep my team.
There we go. No swaps this entire season. I've swapped both times.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in my decisions.
Yeah. Oh.
Once in my initial decision, I second guessed my initial decision, but I'm pretty confident in it. So sorry for all that nonsense, but I'm gonna keep my team. You can cut out all that nonsense if you want.
I will not. The question is, Beanie, is it confidence or stubbornness? Time will...
A little bit of both. That's my secret concoction. It's a little bit of both.
Time will tell. This is it for this week's episode of Scurvivor series. This was an extra long episode because, of course, we had all this bonus stuff here. But we won't be back for next week, so we apologize on behalf of Jessie.
So make it last on behalf of me.
On behalf of both of us.
You're the one who proposed. That's your fault.
That's fair. We will be celebrating our wedding, so maybe we'll have an episode out later in the week next week. We don't know. At the very least, it might just also be a 2-part, like a double episode thing on not next Monday, but the following Monday. So stick around, subscribe to the Scurvivor Series podcast.
We've never gotten married before. We don't know how it's going to go.
No idea. Subscribe to the Scurvivor Series podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Email in your thoughts on the show of Survivor. Email your thoughts on us, anything we talked about in this episode. If you agree, disagree, or whatever.
If you disagree that Bruce's tattoo is not a tramp stamp, let us know.
We want to hear it. ScurvivorSeries@gmail.com, SCURVIVOR@gmail.com. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Greatly helps the show. It takes no time out of your day to do, so we would greatly appreciate it. Jessie, anything to plug? What have you been enjoying this past week that maybe you want people to know about?
I think I've already plugged Psych. I can only plug Psych so many times, but that's my comfort show. And Dayquil, amazing. NyQuil, fantastic.
Even better.
Cough drops, lifesavers.
Have we found them?
Yeah.
Well, don't have lifesavers as cough drops. Just like actual cough drops.
But I want them.
Fair enough. What is the thing you're most excited for this weekend? Beyond getting married to the love of your life.
Yeah. Looking forward to having a kick-ass party and seeing all of our family and friends that we don't get to see and sharing our home with them. I'm looking forward to some of our friends meeting our cats and to my siblings seeing our home.
And even our friends seeing our home.
And our friends seeing our home and meeting our cats.
So many people are flying into this wedding because so many of our friends and family are from Maryland. So, they've never seen what we've done before here. So I'm excited just to show them, hey, this is what my life has been since 20.
And these are our crazy boys.
These are our crazy little boys. They're insanos, our fans, sorry.
Our biggest fans.
So that is it for this week's episode of Scurvivor Series. We'll be back either late next week or for a double episode the week following. Hope everybody has a good week. We'll see you all post-marriage. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.